Anyway, but my reason for calling, I'm totally confused with this Muskrat Falls. But first of all, I agree with you totally. I think it was just a parade, a charade, or whatever you want to call it, the other day. I used to think that the reason we were building this thing was that it was, first of all, if they wanted to know two things. First, if we needed the power, and secondly, what the least cost option.
Right.
Now I'm not so sure why we're building it.
Well, and that's a huge problem, isn't it? Because for public support, we need to have the clarity.
I mean, one minute it's now Quebec.
Yep.
We want to get back with Quebec. That was never mentioned. I can remember when it came up. Now we want to get it for the mining. That was never an issue.
Right.
Before. And I mean, I'm just a local retired banker that I used to think I had a clue one time, but I'm not so sure anymore after listening to these guys. I mean, they come out with all of this 1,500-page thing, and really it's a rehash of 2010. Only it's legal now, and they tell us they don't know the cost. Geez, that blows my mind. I can't get my mind around that. Would you go buy a house without knowing the cost of it?
Oh, of course not. I wouldn't buy a bag of candy without knowing the cost of it. The trick here is that, you know, I just think there's opportunity for more clear, everyday speak from government and officials when we talk about this.
It's like a circus.
Sometimes it is.
And it's too, you know, and the numbers you're hearing batted around 6 point something, 7 point something, 8 point something, and the overrides, and we're stuck for the overrides.
Yeah, we don't know what they will be. Oh no, I know we are. The commitment is very clear in the term sheet or the legal document.
We're committed, and we're going to, and then it gives us an opening. They say around through Quebec. Paddy, that's stretching to me. Yeah, we got 500 megawatts going over underneath the ocean.
Yeah.
170 of that goes to Emera. Okay, so we're left with, for around about, say, 320 meg. What are we going to do with that? I mean...
Well, of course, Emera's power isn't forever, so that's one thing. At one point, there will be 500 megawatts simply for our use. So that's important to consider, because hydro is a very long-term, if not forever and a day, type of power generation.
Hydro is right now, it's forever and a day, but there's also so many other things that could come up within the next 20 years that we don't even know about.
So far as need for money?
For instance, gas. We don't have the technology right now to do it. But who's to say that in 20 years from now that gas will not be able to be, you know, with the way technology is, be able to be used at a much cheaper cost than hydro.
I think the technology is readily available to manipulate gas right today. It absolutely is. The twin cycle gas turbine that is absolutely readily available. We could have more.
The big thing that I'm worried about is my bill.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm worried about is the bill.
You know, nobody, when they go and sign something and they don't know the cost of it.
Well, see
and plus the fact we're giving away 1 point something billion to Emera, because I mean, okay, Emera's putting up so much money, but we got to pay for they're going to collect it back from us from the cost of the power.
But that means it's not free.
Off the hook.
I think
the government of Nova Scotia,
that's not true.
Therefore, the people of Nova Scotia are not putting 5 cents into this.
That is absolutely not true, Ron. That's where a lot of the confusion comes in. I have never heard ever in the life an opportunity to declare where a couple of $1 billion constitutes free. Like, if they get power, we just agreed upon the fact that hydro will last for quite a long time. All of our lifetimes, forever and a day, possibly, with the river continuing to flow. So for a couple of $1 billion to get 35 years worth of power, so-called free, is not free. And at that point, they don't get anything else without paying for it. So this is not just a 20, 30, 40, 50-year deal. At some point, long after we are all gone, hydro will still be generating power, electricity, at Muskrat Falls for sale. I mean, isn't that true? And
possibly.
The 500 megawatt cable is too small. It was my first reaction when I heard the announcement.
It's too small to make anything of it, you know.
Yep.
And then I look at when someone tells me they don't know how much it costs, and we, the people of Newfoundland, are going to be stuck with any cost overruns, and didn't I hear you say in your preamble that the cost overruns could be at 85%? Please correct me if I'm wrong.
I didn't say that. No, that's an article that's written by the public broadcaster based on an interview with a man named Tom Adams, an energy analyst. He's trying to draw comparisons of fear for Muskrat Falls development. He's saying that Manitoba Hydro incurred 85% cost overrun in their latest hydro, and saying that that is something we need to be aware of. Absolutely true. But we also don't know the quality of the estimates being given by Manitoba Hydro and their partners on that deal. So, I mean, I understand the point there, but that doesn't mean that there's guaranteed certainty that we're going to be over by 85%. I think further things from the truth.
No, but anyway, I just wanted to express my view. To me, there's just, I think it's a public relations nightmare.
Yep.
And, you know, I still don't know why we're doing this. No one has proven to me that we need it. Is the process say we build it and they'll come? I really don't think we need it, at least until 2041, but that's just my opinion.
You know what, though, Ron? Funny thing you say that, sir, because at the very beginning of the controversy, when it was announced, some of the most vocal, vehement opposition voices to Muskrat Falls were always saying, if you build it and they will come, and we make partners out of our mining companies and whatnot in Labrador. And funny, they have dropped that as part of their spiel as to why they're so opposed. I think if everything was all included, plus the opportunity to consider this a multi-century opportunity. Like, one question before I let you go, sir. Do you think it would ever be in our best interest, and this is a legitimate question, whether or not we should develop the Lower Churchill River, both Muskrat Falls and Gull Island, ever in the history of that river, in the history of this province and country? Do you think we should ever go about that?
It's a loaded question, and
I'm not trying to make it a military question.
My first opinion would have been I'd love to see it developed.
Right.
I would love to see the Lower Churchill developed and bring in the money. The big thing that I don't see coming is the money that we could have gotten by partnering with Quebec, although everybody hates that. But we could have got, after we owned that darn thing, we could have got $800 to $900 million a year profit coming into that without having to spend 5 cents, except to pay for the loan.
But that's also part of it.
To answer it, I don't see how now it can be done.
That, you know, once again, I find that an interesting piece of opposition, because the same folks who are using that as a reason to say Muskrat Falls is a bad idea because the opportunity for export sale is not available are still saying we should have done it a certain way because we could have made money from export sale. That's where I think this conversation has become win and lose, not rational thought or discussion, and not between you and I, sir, but between the big parties, the politicians and the companies and the most vocal naysayers or opponents of the project. Everyone is nitpicking little fine details out of context to try and belittle or to sell their point, as opposed to reasonable, all cards on the table, all the messaging be dead. We're generating 824 megawatts, and we're going to use it here.
I'd like to see that too.
Me too.
But I think the government should be the leader on it.
No question. I'm with you 100%, and that's why I've been giving a few smacks and taking a few back.
You know, because you know, I think if the government were playing this on a level playing field and laying the facts out as they are and straightforward, I don't think we'd have this controversy.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because bad messaging does not necessarily constitute a bad deal.
No,
but what it does constitute is confusion.
You know, before I go, I'd just like to reiterate again: you wouldn't go buy a house or a car unless you know the price.
Right.
And then, you know, they come in and say, well, we haven't got the numbers yet. That throws away any credibility of what else they're going to say to me. You know, and then I get the mixed messages. 1 minute it's Quebec, 1 minute it's the mines up in Labrador, and I'm wondering, you know, where's all this going to end?
Yeah. You're right, because what's the next reason for developing?
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
The rationale for developing it is, if we're ever going to do it, it has to be now, because there's an opportunity for the federal government to be involved, and costs will continue to escalate daily.
Look, nothing would make me happier than to be able to tell Quebec to go to hell.
Yeah, no, you're right, but that can't be the only reason. Every reason involved and everyone who uses the power is part of the reason for building it, not one or the other.
I just wish the government would make up its mind on what's the real reason behind it.
Ron, when the real numbers, the final numbers come out, I hope, sir, that you'll take an opportunity to call again so we can discuss the meat and the crux of the matter, the dollars and the cents.
Look forward to it,
I appreciate it,
Thanks
sir.
for your time and patience. I appreciate it very much.
Always enjoy the call.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.